Beijing, China, August 12, 2025. China stands on the brink of an unprecedented nationwide crisis in modern history. As raging floods sweep away entire cities and uncontrollable epidemics spread within its borders, Beijing is also being hit hard by blows from its neighbors and strategic partners beyond its borders. The South China Sea is boiling over after warship collisions with neighboring nations. Anti-China protests have erupted in Pakistan and Angola, sending the superpower's global prestige into a freefall. These are not isolated incidents, but an intertwined chain of tragedies painting a full-scale picture of chaos and unparalleled challenges. China is entering dark and perilous days as flooding continues to devastate numerous provinces, while forecasts warn that even heavier rains will pound the country over the next 2 days. The National Disaster Warning System has repeatedly issued emergency alerts, signaling floodwaters could rise to levels never seen before this rainy season. According to Xinhua News Agency, from August 12 to 14th, a vast swath of regions including Henan, Hubei, Chongqing, Sichuan, Shanxi, Anhui, and Gansu will be battered by heavy to extremely heavy rains, with some areas expected to receive rainfall far exceeding long-term averages. This raises the risk of rapid rises in water levels along the upper and middle reaches of the Yangtze River and the Huai River, while many smaller rivers in mountainous terrain may surpass danger thresholds. On August 12th, China's Ministry of Water Resources ordered local authorities to closely monitor rainfall and river levels in real time, issue early warnings, and implement coordinated urban flood prevention measures. Low-lying and downstream areas were specifically told to evacuate residents immediately if danger signs appeared, to avoid repeats of sudden flash floods like those in early August. The National Flood Control and Drought Relief Headquarters also activated a Level 2 emergency response in Jiangsu, Anhui, Hubei, and Chongqing, dispatching task forces to flood hotspots in Anhui and Hubei for on-site command. The crisis did not stop at widespread flooding. On the morning of August 12th, the Ministry of Water Resources, in coordination with the China Meteorological Administration, issued an orange alert for flash flood risks in parts of Henan, Hubei, and Sichuan. Several other provinces were also urged to remain on maximum alert as heavy rains continued, indicating the situation was nearing the highest emergency level. These fears are not unfounded. Since August 8th, torrential rains have triggered violent flash floods in Gansu province, sweeping away roads, bridges, and homes. Images from the scene show entire towns blanketed in mud and raging water, throwing thousands of residents into chaos. With more extreme rainfall expected, experts warn new floods could follow, creating a chain of disasters lasting for weeks. While northern and central China are battling historic floods, the south faces another equally dangerous threat, an outbreak of the chikungunya virus. Transmitted by Aedes mosquitoes, this disease is causing major outbreaks across China. In just 1 month, it has spread rapidly and become a public health emergency in many areas, forcing Beijing to mobilize top medical teams without success so far. Guangdong Province, China's most bustling economic hub in the south, is on high alert after a chikungunya fever outbreak in Foshan City, about 260 kilometers from Zhangjiang. Local health authorities reported that as of August 12th, around 10,000 cases had been recorded nationwide, with no sign of slowing down. This rapid increase raises the risk of the disease spreading to neighboring Guangxi, Hainan, and even Hong Kong and Macau. Alarmingly, this is the first time China has faced such a large-scale chikungunya outbreak. The virus causes high fever, severe joint pain, rash, and prolonged fatigue, leaving patients debilitated for weeks. Although the fatality rate is low, its impact on public health and productivity is enormous, especially in a densely populated and economically active area like Guangdong. Health experts warn that the recent heavy rains and flooding in the south have created ideal breeding conditions for Aedes mosquitoes, making disease control extremely difficult. Authorities in Guangdong have ramped up chemical spraying, cleared stagnant water, and urged residents to take personal precautions. However, with domestic travel and trade still active, the risk of the disease spreading to other provinces remains high. Combining natural disasters in the north and center with an epidemic in the south, China is plunging into a period of severe instability, where each passing day brings unpredictable new developments. Observers say that without effective nationwide coordination and control, the situation could quickly spiral out of control, trapping millions in prolonged hardship. While struggling domestically with historic floods and a raging epidemic, China is also becoming the target of mounting international criticism. From disputed waters to longtime partner nations, Beijing is enduring a string of incidents that are eroding its global standing. On August 11th, Philippine media released shocking footage showing two Chinese warships colliding in the South China Sea right in front of a Philippine vessel. According to the Inquirer, citing the Philippine Coast Guard, a Chinese Coast Guard vessel rammed directly into a Chinese Navy ship near Scarborough Shoal, a reef once controlled by the Philippines until China seized it in 2012. Since then, tensions over the area have persisted. Philippine sources said two Philippine Coast Guard vessels were assisting other ships, including fishing boats in the area. At that time, Chinese Coast Guard vessel number 3104 tried to block and drive away Philippine ships. China then deployed warship number 164 to join the operation against the Philippines. Vessel 3104 used water cannons and sped up to ram Philippine ships. In the process of aggressively accelerating and attempting to disable Philippine vessels, the two Chinese ships lost control and slammed directly into each other in front of the Philippine ship's bow. As a result, Vessel 3104 sustained severe bow damage, and several Chinese crew members fell into the sea. The Philippines offered rescue assistance, but China refused, leaving its soldiers to be swept away by the waves. Earlier, the Philippines accused China of failed water cannon attacks. The newly released images immediately sparked outrage, with many experts calling it piracy in disguise and a dangerous escalation in the South China Sea. China is not only clashing with the Philippines, but is also accused of bullying Vietnam, intruding into Japan, threatening Taiwan, and pressuring South Korea across diplomatic, military, and economic fronts. Yet the most severe rifts are now erupting in places once considered Beijing's close allies. In Pakistan, anti-China protests have exploded in Gwadar, Karachi, and other cities. Locals accuse projects under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor of serving only Beijing's interests, while locals lose land, jobs, and a livable environment. In Gwadar, fishermen are furious at being banned from traditional fishing grounds to make way for a strategic port. Protests have turned violent, blocking roads, burning tires, and clashing with police. amid thick black smoke, chants of "China get out of Pakistan" echoed like an open challenge. In Angola, years of simmering resentment toward Chinese companies have erupted into violent unrest. Locals accuse them of exploiting workers, paying meager wages, beating laborers, and forcing them to work in harsh conditions. Social media is flooded with videos showing local miners treated brutally, digging for gold in dangerous mines without protective gear. The breaking point came when protest groups stormed Chinese factories, smashing equipment, setting warehouses ablaze, and looting everything. Some factories were burned to the ground within hours, causing tens of millions of dollars in losses. Police were forced to withdraw, unable to control the furious crowds. From the South China Sea to Africa, these incidents are severely eroding China's influence. Beijing now faces not only the loss of key projects, but also the bitter reality that its image as a trusted partner has turned into that of an intruder in the eyes of many nations. From raging floodwaters swallowing provinces to epidemics sweeping the south, and a ring of criticism and resistance spanning the globe, China stands in the eye of a crisis storm unlike any before. These are not random events but linked cogs in a decaying machine, each gear slipping out of place. How will the world respond to a China full of schemes with its neighbors, dark intrigues within, stirring turmoil abroad while destabilized at home? Is this the beginning of a long decline in power, or merely a temporary setback before a new strategic move? What do you think about these developments? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this content valuable and want more people to know the truth, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the next deep analysis. Every interaction from you is the motivation for us to continue bringing bold and multidimensional perspectives.